Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. I hope you're having an amazing day. I've got myself a tea and we're going to talk about being single. I feel like this is such a topic where people roll their eyes, and I do too, but 21 years being single makes you question things. I've been single for 21 years. My entire life, never had a boyfriend, nothing of the sort really, and I kind of want to speak about it because I feel like it's quite a taboo topic, and I'm hearing more girls speak about it, and boys, more so on social media now, so I thought I would share my thoughts on it because I know a lot of people are in this boat, but it isn't really spoken about enough, especially when you're surrounded by people who are in relationships, you know, falling in love. I know people that are getting married and having babies. What? This is not a pissy party. This is meant to be fun, light-hearted. We're just gonna have a little girl chat about what it's like being single your whole life. It makes you... I've had an interesting experience. I've never really been someone that has like casually dated. I'm too much of a socially awkward and anxious person to do that. The thought of going on a date makes me physically want to be sick. And I've only ever been on 2 in my life, and the first date, the way I felt before that, wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. I think I also want to talk about this because it is closer to the Christmas period, which is when you're seeing family who are a bit more like, oh, you seeing anyone? Got a boyfriend? And it's always a bit like, no, you'll find someone soon, the right person's around the corner, it'll come for you when you're not looking for it. I don't mind hearing that if I've had a boyfriend, but I've never. And hearing that when you've gone this long without being in a relationship is just, I know that it's being kind, but sometimes it's like... Anyway, I do think the perks of being single are very overlooked. The reality of being single long term does have its benefits. I feel like you gain so much independence, kind of like emotional clarity, because you're not giving your emotions to anyone else, which is something that I do myself. I love very, very hard, and my friends, my family, it's either 0 or 100 for me. I put my energy into everyone, and sometimes that does backfire, especially with people that don't give it you back. Do you feel like it does give you more like freedom in a sense? Not that relationships trap you, but it does give you that kind of flexibility to move around, find yourself. But obviously there's many a con. Loneliness for one. I think that has been a big thing that I've overcome this year. I think comparison is the thief of joy. Like, I do just want to reiterate that, and this is something I'm working on in my every single day routine, is to stop comparing myself, because it genuinely makes me miserable. And we as collectively girls need to not be doing that, because we genuinely don't know what someone else is going through, so there's literally no point in us comparing ourselves to other people when we have no idea what their life is like. Okay, just a reminder, because I know some of you girlies will need it, because I know I will need it. Love ya. I think also feeling clueless. I am clueless when it comes to boys. I don't remember the last time I spoke to a boy sober. Yeah, it doesn't come naturally to me at all, and that is not in a sense of like a pick-me way of being like, oh no, I just can't, like I can't talk to boys, like can't do it. No, like I like verbal diarrhea. I don't know what to say. Like, what do you say to them? What do you say to them? They're like creatures that I'm not familiar with. It's a learning curve, that's for sure. But I think sometimes the apps are quite funny, and like the expectations that come along with that, and I'm just like, ugh. Anyway, I think obviously as a society, and this is just in general in life, it has always been the societal expectation of you find someone you like, you meet a partner, you with them, have babies, get a family, it's gonna be, you know, best thing ever. And some people I've fallen in love since I was 17. I wish that was like 4 years ago for me. I think there's sometimes some like unwanted pity around like society when it comes to not being in a relationship and being single, and kind of the stigma around that, like why they not with someone, why they single, like surely there's a reason for that. But I also think the media portrays like being in a relationship as the best thing that is like there ever is. And as someone who hasn't been through a relationship myself, I genuinely don't know if that's true or not, so I cannot speak on the topic. I do think sometimes it is glamorized a bit when we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes and how the relationship is actually doing, especially with like people that I know in my life, and their relationship is not what it looks like on social media. Not in a bad way at all, like at all, but it is portrayed very differently online. I think with social media it does kind of also bring this pressure into all these people that you follow are in a relationship and you're not. What is wrong with you? This and that. That's kind of where my mind goes with that. And I'm like, well, how do these people find these people? Like, why am I so unlucky? But we'll get into that. Being surrounded by people who are pretty much all in relationships is actually really hard. And that sounds like, oh my god, girl, like just grow up. It's not that hard. It's not an issue, but it is just kind of that longing for that. any sense? When you've actually never felt those emotions for someone, it's crazy to even imagine it. Like, I actually can't imagine what it must be like to fall in love and have that person that knows you better than anyone else. And like when I was with Bella today and her boyfriend, and like they are like best friends, and I'm just like so unbelievably happy for them. But there's always a part of me that's like, I really wish I had that. Or like, when is it gonna be my turn? When's it gonna be my turn? Also, I feel like in terms of like growth, I've kind of unlearned the whole validation thing of being in a relationship. Like, oh, if you're in a relationship, like that validation you get from that. And I think I do not need that anymore. I think there's a part of me when I was a bit younger that was like, oh, maybe I do need that validation, and maybe I should start talking to boys, maybe I should be doing this, maybe I should be doing that because everyone else around me is, and I didn't, which I'm grateful for now. But at the time I craved that validation. Now not so much, and I'm so glad that, and that's I guess a perk of being single for 21 years. I have had to wrestle with many a thought, and I'm sure many of you girlies have too, like in terms of, why don't I have a boyfriend? Like, what's wrong with me? Am I being too picky? Am I not being picky enough? Like, do I even want a relationship, or do I feel like I should be in one? Which is a big question, big question. That kind of comes and goes with different stages of your life. I think now I could be like, I would like a relationship. I think 6 months ago, if you asked me that, I'd be like, yeah, I want a relationship. I would, no, not in the right headspace to deal with those emotions for another person, let alone my own emotions. And I think that this whole like idea of, oh, maybe I should be in a relationship, or like everyone else around me is, so like I should be in one. No, it's a dark hole to go down. I've been down it many a time, and recently as well. I just want to say that, especially like Christmas time, like imagine going to the markets with some, no, can you tell I'm a lover girl? Anyway, I feel like I'm going on so many tangents. Let's get back to it. For me, as someone who has never dated, never been a person to go on serial dates, never been confident. No, I guess confident isn't the right word, because I'm confident within myself, but I think I always think of it as too much in a sense. Like, oh god, like going on that date, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. I want to meet someone organically. There's a part of me that's always like, well, don't just wait around for it, go and find it. But when I'm not in that headspace, that shows me that I'm not ready for a relationship, if that makes sense. I'm in a time of my life now where I feel like I could potentially go and look for one if I really wanted to. I don't really want to. It would be nice, but I have a lot going on over the next few months. But I'm also in a mindset where I'm like, oh, a relationship could actually work right now. But I think if you're asking yourself that question of, I need to go out and find it, maybe you do have the time to go on that date. I think also when it comes to our generation, there is a lot of, I guess, expectation that comes with dating apps and seeing someone for the first time and things that come along with that, you know what I mean? And I know a lot of people do go on those apps for those things, and I think the thought of that is what puts me off them, in a sense of like, well, I don't want to go on the app if they think they're just getting one thing or anything to do with that. And I think that's why it almost feels kind of impossible to date nowadays, because I genuinely don't know what people's intentions are. But I do also think it is important to give it a go. I have given it a go. I went on my first ever Hinge date at this time last year, and it was one of the best things I ever did for myself, my self-confidence, and actually it was really good. And I was like seeing him for a while, but it didn't lead into anything, mainly because I dropped out of university and could no longer see him. That's the only reason I kind of still have hope for these dating apps. Although, to be fair, Sophia Tuxford met her Brian on an online dating app. I'm pretty sure it was Hinge, and my friend from work also met her boyfriend of 3 years from Hinge, so I guess there is a possibility. I do also think there's this pressure of being behind everyone else. I definitely struggle with this, just in my daily life, let alone dating life. I just think there's this like, oh well, you haven't experienced this yet, or you haven't fallen in love yet, or anything like this. And I think I also put that expectation on myself of like, well, I haven't fallen in love yet, and I haven't found my partner yet. Does that mean I'm behind? You just have to remember that you're not. And like, everyone is on their own pace, and I hate hearing this myself, so sorry if you don't want to hear this, but like, you are on your own journey and the right person will come along at the right time. I know, shoot me, but it is true. It's just we don't want to hear it, do we? But it is true, I guess. I also hate being the third wheel, and I didn't think I did until recently when I went out to the pub with a few friends and they were all in couples apart from me. I had a moment where I was like, oh my god, every person I'm with right now is in a relationship. And I was sat there on my own thinking, oh my god, like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is happening? Like, this is horrible. I hate being a third wheel. But also, I mean, I guess it depends who it is and the partner and stuff. It's so hard sometimes. And it's nothing against the people either. It's like the people I genuinely love as well. I'm like, it's not you guys, it's not you. It's just your love for each other just reminds me that I don't have that. It's fine. It's fine. It's And I also feel like I'm really good at giving relationship advice, even though I've never been in a relationship. I feel like a lot of you girls will relate to that. For those of us who have been single our whole lives, why am I giving people who have been in a 5-year relationship advice? But it just comes to show how much you can learn about other people and society without even having a partner yourself. Isn't that crazy? Girl bosses. I think there's also kind of this awkward waiting room period where it's like, oh, I feel like I should be in a relationship. You're kind of almost waiting for it to happen. But I also think that just shows unfulfillment. Is that the right word? Is unfulfillment a word? I don't know. When I feel fully fulfilled in my life, there's not really much else I'm thinking of other than making the best life for myself. I think there's always a part of you that's like, oh, it would be nice, but it's not at the forefront of your mind. We've given ourselves so much time to know ourselves. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just building a life it's building a fulfilling life without that life partner, which is really hard but also really necessary. I think even people who have been in relationships, I think it's important to build that by yourself. I think for me, I worry all the time, not to be dramatic, that I'm gonna die alone and be single my entire life. That is a pretty big worry of mine, which I know is so exaggerated, and I know deep down that's not gonna happen, but when you don't know any different, that's kind of all your mind says to you. But I do just want you guys to know you are not alone in being single your entire life, and I actually think it's a blessing in a way, and we just have to remember that, and our time will come. I know, sue me, I've said it again, but it's true. We're just girls at the end of the day. We're all single, having a good time. But I think, especially as an anxious queen, dating is off the cards for me. I really struggle with that. But maybe something I should push myself to do more of, but I'm in no rush right now. I feel like I do have more to say, but my camera's flashing, so I might leave this episode here. I basically just verbal diarrheaed to you my thoughts on being single, and none of that was cohesive. I'm so sorry. Any of you who are in relationships watching this, just know I still love you so much. It's nothing to do with, I'm not like hating on relationships or anything like that, like at all. Like I want that, guys. You've got to remember, if you're in a relationship watching this, I'm so happy for you, and I can't wait to have that. Just so you know. I'd also love to hear any of your dating stories, horror stories. How long have you been with your boyfriend for? Where did you meet? Did you meet on a dating app? Give me hope. I had more to say. And I just want to make sure I got all points covered. I want to normalize being single. That's a crazy statement because I know it is pretty normalized, but I do feel like there is a bit of a shame around being single. The fact that it's like not a normal thing. Like it is so normal, it's just not spoken about enough. Maybe it is, I don't know. I find that being single isn't really spoken about enough, and I think there is a bit of a stigma around being single and it kind of not feeling normal because it's not spoken about enough. I feel like for me, I often feel alone because I feel like society elevates romantic relationships over other relationships in life. For me, my relationships with my family and especially my friends are the most important things in my life. I think even other things as well, like your hobbies, your community, and even like your creative outlet. I feel like you do really need to nurture those relationships. Obviously the one you have with yourself should be your priority, but all these other ones as well that are just as important, if not more important than a romantic relationship, and I feel like they get thrown under the bus a little bit. They're never really spoken about as much, or they're never really as elevated as the romantic relationships being perceived. This is just a reminder to nurture and value all the amazing relationships you already have in your life, because I think sometimes it's so easy to be like, well, I don't have a partner, so I'm like alone and all of this and all that, and you forget the people around you. So today's your reminder to be grateful for the people in your life, however few, many, I don't know, be grateful for them. I'm grateful for mine every single day, and I want to show them that more. It also makes sense that we're feeling this way, not to validate my own feelings, but I think we're not alone in feeling like this, but I feel alone, even though I know I'm not, because I literally know people that are. Petition to ban motorbikes. Your feelings are so valid. You're not weird or anything for feeling alone, or like feeling like, is there something wrong with me? Like, your feelings are valid, okay? It doesn't matter if you've been single your whole life and you're still complaining about it. Your feelings are valid. While I am single, I've always been single, I'm gonna use it to my advantage. I'm gonna go traveling, first of all. I mean, I know people can do that with their boyfriends, don't get me wrong, and they have the most amazing times ever. Someone's at my door. But I think for me, traveling really fulfills my cup, and that's something I like to do by myself. I'm a very independent person, probably because I've been single my entire life. That's how I like to fulfill my life. Travel, hobbies, friends, going out for food, food. I'm someone with very high standards, which I've been told by certain people is a bad thing, and I couldn't disagree more. I think the standards of what you want your partner to be should be insanely high, and not unrealistic, but just remembering what the bare minimum is in a relationship. I'm not necessarily too picky with when it comes to a partner, but I think people settle for people that aren't good enough for them. I've known many amazing people in my life who have been with people who do not treat them like the queen they are. I am not one to speak on this because I have never been in a relationship, so I don't understand how it can almost kind of take over your life because you become so connected to that one person, which is just incredible. But with that, I think sometimes people get lost, especially when you haven't done that before and you don't really know yourself that well, which I think would have been me a few years ago if I suddenly got into a relationship. I didn't know myself, I wasn't confident in myself, and I feel like I would have been that person to get lost and forget what my standards are and what the bare minimum is. And it is easy to get lost because I know that there is this honeymoon phase that I've heard many people talk about how when you first get into a relationship, it is like the best thing ever, you're seeing each other all the time. I kind of did experience that. Even though I've never been in a relationship, I did experience that kind of wanting to be with them all the time, wanting to do everything with them, which I am going to go into in a minute. But I think people kind of expect that to just disappear after a certain amount of time. And I get it will never be the same as like when you first met and it's super exciting, but I do also think that that excitement for each other should always be there in some sort of way. And I know that does kind of get lost in a relationship, but that is something that I would always be looking for. My personal opinion, or my advice to anyone who comes to me for relationship advice, I mean, I don't know why they're coming to me for relationship advice, but I do think we should keep our standards high, girls, because we know ourselves, we know what we deserve, and we're not going to settle for anything less. We're not going to settle, I mean, settling for a man is like the right one will meet all your standards and you'll realize that's how I'm meant to be treated like a princess, and obviously like give that back. I mean, I'm definitely a giver in love, in a sense, really become not obsessed that sounds a bit crazy, but I always make sure that my standards are just as high as what I'm looking for, because I don't expect, you know, this person to meet all my standards and me not give anything back. Like, no, that's no. So yeah, I think keep your standards high and don't settle just because you feel like you have to. I do fear for myself in terms of, because I've never been in a relationship before, how I'm gonna feel when I get into one, because even though I've not been in a relationship, I was obviously seeing someone for a while and became a little bit in love. Not in love, I've never experienced love, but I did become pretty obsessed, and I loved that feeling of having someone. That was only, I guess, the tip of the iceberg. Is that the right saying? I'm so bad at sayings. I don't know what the saying is, but I know that was only the start of something that could have been amazing. And I worry that when I get into a relationship, if that was only the start of how I was feeling, I'm gonna become so obsessed. I'll be like, oh, get married, let's have some kids, do you know what I mean? I think for myself, I need to learn how to not latch on to people. I do it with friends too. Like, I become obsessed with people, and that has backfired for me many a time. Anyway, we're not talking about that, but I do just need to prepare myself to not get too attached. I do have avoidant attachment too, which is kind of an issue, because I do also find problems with people when there are no problems, because I get scared to fall in love, or I get scared to feel certain things. I don't know why. I don't know why I do that, but I do. My friends tell me I do it too. They're like, there's nothing wrong with him, there's nothing wrong. I'll find something wrong with them, and then I run away. I'm just a girl. I don't know what to do with these feelings, you know what I mean? I will just run away. But no. We're gonna rewire. We're rewiring. Anyway, do you ever wonder, have you met your future partner? I always think this. I always think, oh my god, what if I walked past him in the street? What if we went to the same school and I didn't know? Isn't that crazy? I wonder what he's doing right now. I wonder what he looks like, what hair colour he's got, how many kids we're gonna have, where we're gonna live. Are we gonna meet while I'm travelling? Are we gonna meet in a bar? Are we gonna meet on a dating app? Maybe I've already met him. That is a crazy thought. Like, you know when people say these stories about we saw each other in a bar when we were like 15, and then at 25 we bumped into each other on a plane, or we ended up sitting next to each other on a plane and started talking, and then stuff like that is crazy. That would be so cool. I wonder what he's doing. I wonder what his name is. I have a top 3 favourite boys' names, and if it's one of them, amazing. But if it's not, I can call my kid that, so it's all good. But anyway, I'm getting so off track. I know people say like, oh, I'm scared to be single. I'm like, don't know what I'm going to be when I'm single. I'm the same about a relationship. I don't know what I'm going to be like in a relationship. I mean, obviously I'm going to be the same, but like, I'm going to feel all these different things I've never felt before. And I like be in love with someone. It's crazy. I can't wait for that. I'm already getting impatient talking about it. No, I need to not. Anyway, God, all this talk about being in a relationship is Can we also talk about having a crush? Life is so much better with a crush. Actually, life is elite when you've got a crush. It's the best thing ever. At my old uni, I had a crush on this one guy. He was so beautiful, still think about him now. Yeah, he was stunning, and life was so much more fun because I was like, I'll dress up cute because we get the same bus and I might see him, who knows? Who knows? I only spoke to him once and it was the best night ever. And I have a crush now at uni and it's fantastic. Although I never really see him, so maybe I should get a new crush. But having a crush is so much fun. It just makes life exciting, doesn't it? Like, it's just the best. Oh, I love being a girl. I've just literally glanced over at all my rom-com books. I might have to read one. Might have to get into another book. Might have to get into another cheesy romance. Maybe it's time. Anyway, a little final reminder to end off this very probably chaotic episode. Who you are matters. Your relationships, whether romantic or not, matter. And your future is wide open. Like, actually, who knows? Who knows what's around the corner for you? Like, you just genuinely never know. So I think that's really exciting about life, don't you think? Like, oh my God, what's around the corner? Who knows? Every day is a fresh start. Live every day. That was me, my unprofessional opinion, and this is just my thoughts. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Let me know your stories. I want to read some. Are we enjoying this series? I feel like this is a bit more of a light-hearted episode. We can go into more deeper topics. I don't know, just let me know. Love you all so much.
Undivided, remove